That was really fun. So this is MaryAiñe with Deeper Than Memory, Deeper Than Money. And we are 97.3 and 107.9 The Rock. It's KEBF, Morro Bay, and KZSR, Paso Robles. We'll be back in just a moment, so hang tight because I've got a great show with Heather Green. She's going to be telling me all about the astrological, Pleiadian, angelic messages that come through to her and let you know what's going on in these heady times that we're in. Okay, I shall be right back. Well, that's right. You can achieve anything that you put your mind and heart to. There is a little catch, though, is emotionally you have to be in that place, too, and really feel it. So I want to let you know that this is Deeper Than Memory, Deeper Than Money, and we're on 97.3 and 107.9 The Rock. I know I said that, but I want you to know that it's a listener-supported community radio for the Central Coast. And so we're having a paddling fundraiser and a lot of fun things going on. We try to be a part of the community, and really we want you to feel like you are part of our radio community, too. So we're streaming worldwide at centralcoastradio.org. And that's a big deal because we have people call in from around the world. Isn't that awesome? Thank you for being there. And you can take us wherever you go with the free Rock Community Radio iPhone app. Very cool. We need a Android app too. Or you can hear, wait a second, you could hear us by just going online. Actually, you don't need an app. And we have Radio Free America now that you can listen to your favorite tunes for between their playtimes, and there's more information coming about that. But if you'd like to communicate with us, we have a phone number, 805-772-2037. So that's 772-2037. And you can also write to us at your voice at centralcoastradio.org. Now, I mentioned before that I have a special guest today. I'm very excited about this. Heather Green, a green blue healing, teal healing, teal healing, which is kind of like blue green healing. They're all part of it. Will be my guest today. I'm so excited. I've got her on the line now. She used to be local. Now she's not quite as local, so I have her on the phone. And I have in my hand her book, For the Love of Horses. So I hope we get to talk a little bit about that as well. And I really want you to stay tuned because she is going to help us demystify what's going on in the cosmos and why you want to pay attention, especially right now, to what you're putting out there. And as I always say, you know, if you think it and you put it out there, you create it. Whether it's good emotions or not so good emotions, whatever you're putting out there is part of your creation. So you have that ability. So welcome, Heather.
Thank you, MaryAiñe. It's good to be on and talking to you again.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm just adjusting your volume here, so we're good, and playing with the mic over here, getting it to stay where I want it to. And wow, I'm so excited to have you as a guest. Yay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
good to be here.
Good. So I know you've got a lot to talk about. So we're going to just go kind of topic by topic or whatever comes up. We do have time. Let me see. I don't know if we could do call in or not. It would, because Heather's calling in. So that might not work today. But you can always send questions, to be passed on to Heather through your voice at centralcoastradio.org, and we will give you a way to communicate with her as well before the show's over. So write down any thoughts or questions that you might have so you remember what you want to say. Mm-hmm. All right. So I was just checking, rereading some of the texts that we sent back and forth, and I know there's a lot going on cosmically.
Yes.
And so I wanted to hear a little bit about that. And yeah, especially, I guess we're still in Mercury retrograde.
Yes.
And so I know some people think of that as a really awful period of time, but I don't know that it's so awful if you're
No.
cleaning up, organizing, finishing tasks, that kind of thing. So, Heather, will you tell us your opinion about this and what you know? Because I'm sure you've got information coming that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
special information. So go ahead.
Yeah. And actually, Mercury is now direct. I think it went direct just a few days ago. So
Okay.
we're kind of moving out of it. We're still in the shadow, so we
Mm-hmm.
are still feeling it a little bit. And I think that's kind of lightened things up for a lot of people, because this last cycle, when Mercury was retrograde, it was in Scorpio, and we also had 2 or 3 different planets in Scorpio as well. And so that meant, a lot of intensity, a lot of depth to what we were feeling, what we were reviewing. It was really giving us a chance to see some hidden aspects of ourselves, more shadow stuff, and to really integrate those pieces of ourselves. So whether that be from this lifetime or other lifetimes or whatever, we really needed to get in there and feel all of that. So for a lot of people, it was a very emotional time, this Mercury retrograde. And we are still feeling it, because we do have Mars actually just went into Scorpio now. So we do have
Good.
another planet. And so we're kind of still on that same boat of going deep, feeling some intense emotions, integrating some old past parts of ourselves, and releasing old patterns. So this is a time to really let go of those, aspects of you or parts of your, patterning that has been a limitation for you. Old ways of being, emotions, thoughts, belief systems, all of that. This is a time to really take care of, getting quiet and still. Even now, Mercury retrograde is good for that, getting still, going within. But even though it's direct, the cosmic energies that we have now carrying us through 12/12 and even into the end of the year are going to support us in really wrapping up this phase. It's kind of like a little bit of an elongation of the Mercury retrograde cycle. So get quiet, get still, really be present with what you're feeling. Let yourself feel it too. This isn't a time to block or repress or try to be, an outstanding citizen.
Press on
If you're
regardless.
not feeling it, okay, let yourself feel your emotions. The more that you can feel it, the more it will begin to shift, and your awareness of your feelings and why you're feeling them will help you to integrate whatever pieces want to be integrated. And then you'll know exactly what actions need to be taken if you do need to take an action. So it's just a really potent time right now.
I believe it. I had a pretty interesting week last week that brought up a lot of old emotion, and the tears just started coming, and I thought, okay, this is good. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm going to go with it and let this cleansing energy occur, and then I can kind of look more deeply at this, and so doing some not automatic writing, but non-dominant handwriting is a great way to find out. What really did that message mean? Because it was kind of convoluted, like dream messages, that it's not always clear, but you will find it when you tap into how it feels and where you're feeling it, and maybe not even try to figure out what happened. Just okay, I'd like to clear this. So journaling is great, and going for a hike is great. And,
Yes.
nice long baths, sleep.
Yeah, take time for yourself. Absolutely. Yeah, really pamper yourself right now, because everyone's feeling it. Everyone's feeling the intensity of it one way or another in their lives. And a lot of light workers feel like this is going to keep continuing. Like it's like this cycle that you may feel like you'll never get out of. So I've been hearing that a lot from my clients. And because of the intensity of this time and bringing up some old stuff that we maybe thought we were done with, people can go, well, am I ever going to be done with this? Am I always going to be stuck in this? And so I really want to convey that this is a time where if you've been doing your inner work, if you've really been doing what you need to do to be present with your emotions, to allow them to feel them, to integrate, or any other healing modality that you may do, and I recommend doing any kind of healing that works for you, everybody, right now. If you're doing that, then, and you've been steadily doing that over the last, I would say even the last few years since 2012, when we were really at the peak of this, then you can really make some breakthroughs. This is a time of breakthroughs as we're heading into the end of the year, into 2020. So I just like to get that word out there. I recently posted about it on Facebook, and I think a lot of people need to hear it, because this is a time where it feels so intense and people feel weary on their journey, like, wow, we've been doing this forever and it's not budging. So just know that, we're getting closer and closer, and really trust your process. Trust the unfolding of your own integration process and your own timing too. That's all part of it.
Yeah. Oh, and for me, I know I was having judgment about someone and their parenting style, and what that tapped into that really surprised me. I was doing a visualization, and was a period in my life where I was doing a very similar thing that I was in judgment of. And wow, what was happening in my life at the time was very chaotic and violent and dramatic. And so to revisit that is to look at how different life is today, and see, whenever we're looking at somebody in judgment, they're a mirror for us. That they're showing us where, and right down to Donald Trump, they're showing us
absolutely
where we have that energy working against us, perhaps, that it's our own inner judge about ourselves not being good enough, whatever. We have all these good enough things going on. It's just part of the human condition. But boy, get on that horse and ride it, because it will take you to a very potent healing. And that's what this is all about, and why Heather brings this forward is so it makes sense, that we can do healing easily, and thank goodness. And then when Heather wraps it all up, it's like, oh, of course, no wonder. Now I understand, and so it makes sense, because we're all on the same boat.
Yep, we are. We're all in this, and it's true. I like to convey to people what's happening, because a lot of people feel that intensity and question, wow, am I just going off the deep end here or what?
Yeah, exactly.
And it can feel a little bit like the Twilight Zone out there. I think I heard someone say it on Facebook, and I was like, yeah, that is kind of how it feels. It's a little eerie with the energies and all that we're kind of stirring up inside ourselves and collectively too. So, but I really like what you said there, MaryAiñe, about compassion or judgment. The opposite of judgment is compassion. So if we can have compassion for ourselves, we can begin to have compassion for others, and that really is needed during this integration phase.
Yes.
We'll look back at our own shadow and see maybe where we weren't so perfect, and maybe where our limits are, and where we're still working on ourselves. If we can really honestly look at ourselves and still have compassion, we can then turn around and have the same for others, knowing they're going through the same thing in one way or another. It may be a different story, but it's still, they're going through similar things, even, like you said, down to Donald Trump, because we're seeing it reflected in our external reality in a lot of levels, including the social arenas. And really, to integrate that darkness, we all have light and dark in us. To fully integrate that, we have to have compassion. That is the key. If we stay in judgment, it just doesn't get integrated. Yeah, we're not seeing it. We're not embracing it. Yeah.
And as you say, the light and darkness, the dark is not necessarily bad, and the light is not necessarily good. It's contrast. Just like when you have photography, you have, the negative image, which is opposite of the printed image. It's information, and so you gather the information and look at it from all sides. Don't just look from one perspective, because everything that's happened through our life from the time we were babies has made an imprint on who we are, and a 7-year-old's idea of what's going on is much different from a 14-year-old's, which is much different than a 25-year-old's. And then
Yep.
when you become a parent, you have a completely different experience of what your parents were going through, and now you're starting to get, the adult world and how crazy that is. So even the words light and dark, just let them be a way of saying, it's a texture, it's a contrast, or if you want to use the full spectrum, you can do that too, to look at the emotions and what triggers them, and what you're afraid of, and maybe what you're running away from. And
Yep.
and for me, it was like, well, I've had this feeling before, and it was dangerous. It meant something bad was going to happen. And so, wait a second, I'm not in that situation anymore. So let me look at it from another perspective, and
Yes.
and then I can make better sense of it and realize that, oh, I am making a judgment from old events in my life, and I no longer have to do that, because where I am, I'm safe, I'm secure, I'm loved, I'm in a completely different situation. And that
Yep.
reminds me of when I got to do the work with you with the horses. And so that was so remarkable, because the horse would demonstrate what was happening with us emotionally.
Yeah.
And I remember the horse went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's like, no, you have to make up your mind. I must have a lot of Libra in me or something. But I know there's Gemini. And so going back and forth, not, kind of straddling two sides. It's like, I want to make everybody happy. And, yeah, the horses were so incredible. And then you wrote a book that really talked about that. So, yeah, can you tell us a little bit about your book and For the Love of Horses, and it's Animal Communicator's Guide to helping our horses and healing our lives. But it's not just about horses. It's about any animal and walking through our life. So,
Yeah.
you have a lot of information in here. So,
Yeah. Well, in essence, the book is about how animals can help us heal, and how they basically role model to us what we've got going on inside ourselves, because animals are very sensitive, they're very empathic, and often, like our own children, parents will see this with their kids, they'll reflect back what's going on in us if we're not aware of it, if we're not owning it, if we're not working it through. So if we suppress, if we're repressing or suppressing, they will feel our emotions and a lot of our other limiting patterns as well. So if we're present with them, we can see what needs to be healed in ourselves. And as we're present with them, they actually help us heal, because they're very compassionate. Animals by nature, they don't judge the way we do.
yeah.
So they really hold that safe space that can allow us to heal. So that really was what my book was about, and I wrote it to inspire people not only to see how animals can help us heal, and this is about horses, but all animals can do this, whether they be our dogs and cats, the whales and dolphins in the ocean. I mean, they're amazing. Any animal can. I wrote it to inspire people to not only heal their lives, but to walk their soul's path, their authentic soul's path. And that's a theme that's coming up in our world right now, too. At the time, I wrote the book, it was about my life about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when I left the nursing profession and decided to do my intuitive healing work, alternative work, full time. And so, I'm an intuitive, I'm a channel, I'm an energy healer. I work with both people and animals. And, it was an explanation of the journey that I made from getting out of a traditional mainstream work like nursing and completely changing course and going off in a different direction, but ultimately an expanded one, because I can help more people now. I can help more beings. I can offer different methods that, the traditional fields don't offer. And it's really about us expanding our consciousness and seeing through a new lens, which is kind of what we're seeing in our world right now, changing the paradigm,
Yes.
Not, instead of black and white, we're seeing things as more gray, we're seeing how we're all connected and just like the body, it's not just physical. There's emotional and mental and spiritual components as well that affect how we feel and our overall wellness. So that's basically why I wrote the book. And it is a good book now, pertinent to a lot of people's path, because this time, as we're wrapping up this end of this year and moving into 2020, many people are going to be really called to living more of an authentic life path. And that includes being in service in ways that feel authentic and feel like a higher vocation, wanting to be in service, wanting to connect more to the community, wanting to offer their gifts in the world. And so that might mean leaving a 9-to-5 job and doing something completely different. Or it could mean keeping a job, but also doing something on the side that really lights you up and sparks your passion and your joy, because you know that that's really what you're meant to bring forward. And really being true to you, the bottom line, being true to you, that light that flows through you. Who is that light? What are you? Who are you? And finding out more of those layers. The more that we can tap into that, then we can be more authentic and genuine in the way we express ourselves in the world in every way, in all of our relationships and every way that we step forward. And it's enough just to be who we are. It really is enough if we are in alignment with that. So I think it's kind of an exciting gateway that we're entering, for sure. And I love that the book, even though it was released in 2013, and it was written, about my life before that, maybe 10 to 15 years prior. So it still reflects a lot of the themes that many of us are dealing with now in the world. So yeah.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of good information in there. So if you were to want a copy, you could contact www.tealhealing.com, and Teal is spelled Teal, healing, HEALING.com, and get a copy for yourself and see how you could use it in your life. So I need to go. I'm going to do a couple of things. I need to do my disclaimer because I overlooked that in the beginning. And so the views and opinions do not necessarily reflect those of 97.3 and 107.9 The Rock or its management. If you have opposing views, reach out to us for your equal share of airtime. Remember, this is your station, 97.3 and 107.9 The Rock. And so that applies to everything that we've said before I said this, as well as everything that we will say after I said that for the duration of this show. And I am looking now. I heard Sean do all kinds of great public service announcements before me, and I'm going to repeat one of them because it's Templeton's Jingle All the Way 5K run and 1 mile kids fun run, Saturday, December 7th this year. As the 5K starts at 8 a.m. I bet you my sister-in-law Judy's going to be in that one. And it's a 1 mile kids fun run. Starts at 9 a.m. Check-ins at 7 a.m. for the 5K, 8:15 a.m. for the kids 1 mile. Oh, let's see. The start and finish line is on 5th Street in front of the Templeton Fire Department, 206 5th Street. There'll be medals to the top 3 finishers in men's and women's categories, prizes for all the kids entered, and you can register Templeton Recreation Department, 599 South Main, Templeton. So the 5K is 30, the kids 1 mile is 5, and if you want T-shirts extra, they're 15, and there's a phone number. Oh my gosh, Santa will be there too. The phone is 805-434-4909. Again, that's 805-434-4909. Get in on the fun or just go and watch. You don't have to run to have fun. So I am going to play a song and we will be back in just a moment. Hang on. Okay, we are back. And we're having a conversation with Heather Green. Heather, are you still with me?
I'm still here, yes.
Yay, perfect. I didn't push the wrong button or anything like that. So
I know.
I know I've forgotten how to talk behind the music. So
It happens.
I'll just have to have more guests by
Yeah.
telephone, and then it'll be like second fiddle or something like that, secondhand thing. But I
Yeah.
do want to mention that The Rock is giving a tax break fund drive. Isn't that great? We're going to help you help us. It's time for The Rock's tax fund tax break. Yep. They're saying all this stuff. I just have to go forward. You don't have much time to get a tax break before 2019. The way you can do that is donate to us. And because we're a nonprofit and community radio, you get to write that off your taxes. Now, isn't that cool? So you've got just a little bit over a month to do this. And you can send us a check, drop off a check, send us a PayPal money, whatever you need to do. That you'll want to select The Rock on our radiostation.org. So it's Central Coast radiostation.org. And you can do this any time of the year, but right now is when it's really important for you and for us. And so support The Rock, support The Rock, support The Rock. Make that tax-deductible donation of any kind. Or you can also buy some of the merchandise that we offer when we're out at different events around town and the Central Coast, which is Cayucas, Los Osos, Morro Bay, or we're over the hill, Templeton, Paso Robles. You will see us out there with our great pop-up and somebody from The Rock running it, and come say hi. We'd love to let you spin the wheel, and you might win something, or we have hats and T-shirts. So help us out. Help us help you have some great music and cool talk shows, and it's a win-win for everybody. Anyway, we love to meet people that listen to us, too, and hear all about who is listening. So, oh my gosh, Heather, what else? I mean, you've got so much information. So, you know, we're on the Central Coast. Let's talk about the sea people, you know, the whales and the dolphins, and what is going on with them.
Yeah, since you're talking, we're on the theme of animals and, relating to my book and all the consciousness shifting that's going on. It's like, I was living at one time in Morro Bay. That's why MaryAiñe and I connected and was doing the radio shows together there. And I recently just moved up to Monterey, which is just a couple hours north, not far.
But by the aquarium.
But by the aquarium. And up here, I mean, it's still the Central Coast. We're still in that same general area, but the whales are very active up here. So all year round, you can see whales in this area.
Cool.
Whales and usually dolphins, too, and a lot of other sea creatures. In fact, I just went on a whale watch boat ride yesterday just for something fun with a friend of mine. And, we got to see plenty of whales out there. It was
nice.
We were in Moss Landing. So, and the reason I want to talk about them is they're such a powerful group of beings, the cetaceans. I really feel like on a higher consciousness level, as a group, they're really transmitting some powerful energies that can help us in our evolution here on Earth. All of us, the Earth itself and the humans. So, and people feel really good when they're out around the water, whether they're walking on the beach or whether they're out on a boat, or if you can get in the water these days. I know on the West Coast the water's a little chilly, but if you have, a wetsuit and you can get in, or even if you can just put your feet in for a little bit, you can really feel, that connection with them in the water. And I just think it's very supportive and very soothing for us during this time of so much change. And, with everything happening in our collective where, it's very unknown, a lot of people are feeling that tension that comes with the unknown. Like, what's going to happen? What's it going to look like, either in our political scene or even in our personal lives, because many of us are going through lots of change. So I really feel this supportive energy and unconditional love coming from these beings. And yesterday, even when I was out on the water with my friend, we were both talking about how the energy from them felt very peaceful. It was like they were emanating this peaceful, calm, serene, present, a feeling of being really present and grounded in the moment, just radiating from them. I've been connected with them in other ways where I felt like such a joy or, sparks of joy and love and passion. But this was just a really serene feeling. So I just think that they're amazing beings. And the more that we can connect with them, not only does that help ground and center us, but the more that we can become connected to all the beings on the planet and see how we're all very much equal and alike in ways that we'd never expect. So magic.
Yeah. So I just had a thought. If you're not able to go out on the water, and maybe you don't even live close to the ocean, can you connect with the whales and dolphins through your mind anyway?
I'm glad you mentioned that, MaryAiñe. Yes, you can. There is something to say for getting more in the physical with them. I know that really it benefits my body. Physically, I feel really good when I make contact with them in the physical, whether it means making contact with the water or being on a boat or being at the beach. And it could also be the negative ions that are there as well. So I have to mention that. But if you can't get to the water and you can't connect with them, because they're coming through all the way down the coastline. They move all the way from Washington State all the way down to San Diego. The whales do. They're always progressing up and down the coastline. So you could connect to them anywhere on the coast. But if you're not near water, if for some reason you're more inland or you have a busy schedule or you just can't get to the beach, then yes, you're right. You can telepathically connect with them through your intent. And that's really just mind-to-mind communication. That's really the basis of all animal communication and communication with all beings is your intent is to connect to them. And when you make that intent, you can imagine if you were having a conversation with them mind to mind, what would you say? Or you can think whatever it is that you would say. Think the thoughts in your mind and imagine that they are sent right where they need to go, to the whales in the ocean or, a particular animal of your choosing, whoever it may be. You can also send emotions that way, like love, joy. You can send thoughts, words, pictures. You can think about a picture in your mind that represents a feeling and send that as well, because animals think in pictures, so it's very easy for them to receive those messages. But these beings are highly evolved, so you can also connect with them on a higher self level, and they'll receive the message as well. But the majority of it is really your intent, the desire to connect makes it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have coming up Lisa and Good Dogma, and she talks about how to work with your animals as well, especially training your dogs and not treating them like humans, but treating them like the animal that they are. And a lot of it is the verbal and picture cues in your mind that you're sending them, because that's what the animals pick up more than the words, or your voice inflection more than the words you're using. It's what's the emotion that's running this, like if you're angry at somebody else and you say something to your dog, it's like it's probably going to cringe. And maybe you didn't mean it. They weren't in trouble. It was your boyfriend.
Yeah.
But so being aware of what you're feeling as you're sending the information is an important aspect of sending the information, and even pictures. I just, there's so much to that. So I want to mention real quick that the Rock is hosting the Morro Bay Holidays Paddle Parade Sunday, December 8th. That's coming up really soon. I don't know if it's next Sunday or the one after, but not this one. So they are offering prizes to anybody who has a non-motorized kayak, sailboat, surfboard, anything that floats. It'll be lots of fun at 11 a.m. at Coleman Park. Registration's at 9 a.m. And you could win a $200 first place prize. So there'll be lots of candies, coffees, health foods, things there that will also entice you to spending some money. And it will be another way to help the rock, which is really cool. We like to help the rock stay on the air. and
Mm-hmm.
and so thinking about rocks makes me think about planets, and thinking about planets makes me think about the Pleiadians. And
Mm-hmm.
is there something that they would like us to know about that you can share with us?
Yeah, well, the Pleiadians, who are higher dimensional beings connected to the planet Pleiades, so they're very connected with us now, very much aware of what's happening on our Earth because they've gone through that in their own time with their own planet, and holding space for us in our journey. Really being present with us, observing us, being available to us as we need it to assist us during this time as we would like. They are very connected to this time of us having compassion. I just did a class recently on how to manifest during this time of change, and I was channeling the Pleiadians in that class. It was in October, and one of the things they said was to focus on compassion and our connection to other beings, as I said, like the whales, the dolphins, all the animals, and a lot of these higher dimensional beings are connected to the whale and dolphin energies. That's how they're choosing to be present on this earth in a way that they can serve more directly to us instead of being in a higher realm, because the Pleiadian energies are more fifth dimensional and higher, depending on what collective they're coming from. They can access us much more easily in that physical body of a cetacean. So there's Pleiadian, Arcturian, and Sirians that are very connected with those beings. So one of the things I was going to say before is if you desire to connect to the whale and dolphins and you telepathically communicate with them, you can also receive from them. You can ask for them to send you a message or some helpful information or healing that you might need during this time, and just ask that you receive it on your higher self level, which is usually how they will send it, and then you'll get it. And you might not know right in that moment what the answers are or what the information is, but you'll get it in the next few days or weeks or however long it takes for you to integrate it. It's like you'll just have a knowing, about what
Yes.
they're doing. So that's one way to communicate with them. But the Pleiadians in general are very neutral as far as how we choose to play things out on the planet, how we choose to go forward in our evolution as humans. The game that we're playing on the big stage, with the social issues, they're just being present and loving and accepting us for who we are and however we decide to move forward. But it's a very unconditional, loving, and compassionate energy. So it's definitely a beautiful, much like the angels when people think about angelic presence.
Yeah.
It's very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, comforting.
Mm-hmm. Comforting, yes.
Yeah, I had an experience a couple of weeks ago where I really wanted to communicate with my mother's mother, and I didn't know what to expect because I didn't ever get to know her. She died when I was a baby, but there were two words that came out really strongly, and at first I was kind of like, what? And providence was one word. And why I'm telling about this is because it was so crystal clear in my mind that providence, and when I looked it up, is really carried by God. And the other word that came later during a shamanic journey experience was continuum. And so this energy that's coming forward, which is much bigger feminine energy, the goddess energy coming forward, and the healing internally of our male and female energies, is about slowing down and enjoying life, and really, I'm going to say, walking a mile in the other person's shoes. You don't know what they've gone through that may be making them act the way they're acting. You have no idea what is going on in their life. And so when you feel this judgment coming forward about any part of our society or any other country, we don't really understand what's happening unless we have walked through what they walk through. And the same with our parents, our grandparents, the whole lineage. that is what the continuum represented for me. That, see, right now we're in this golden age, really, that we can change the things that we no longer want in our lives. And maybe that happens to be war. But that's not just war against another country. That's an internal war against yourself. And so it goes on a very deep level, and it's a very broad level. And
Yes.
and hearing this, what you're saying about the Pleiadian messages and the whales and the dolphins, is a very gentle, very loving energy.
Yes.
And so if we were to emulate that, that would be, wow, like helping your neighbor. Or, and, you see somebody with a broken down car, stopping and asking them if they need help. Or maybe somebody's struggling with their groceries at the store and you can help them load them up. Or, there's a lot of opportunities to give a hand. And it's different than a hand out. It's a hand up, or just a hand that there's nothing, there's not a hierarchy to it. It's people helping people. And this is a great time for that, when so many people are triggered by the holidays that they feel alone or forgotten, or maybe they've been so hurt that they don't want people around them. So they're kind of like Scrooge. And let's talk about that for a minute. I know the whales are in pods, and so do they ever, if there's like a renegade whale, do they ostracize it or put it, in a timeout? Or, because I know the females, they all are like aunties to the calves. And so they all take care of the calves, and isn't it a matriarchal?
It is.
Yeah.
It actually is matriarchal in the whale family. The mothers take care of the children, and they stay together. From what I know, the mothers take care of the children and raise them, and the males stay with their mother for life. The females will go off and mate and be with the male's family, from what I understand. So It is very matriarchal. But I want to say, they're not really. I wouldn't say they don't exclude anyone. That's just how they live that's how they do their thing in their family, as far as their whale genetics and more the physical aspect of being whale. But one of the themes that I think can help us right now, that they do emulate really well, not just the whales but the dolphins too, and a lot of sea creatures, is freedom. And that's a big theme that's coming up now as we finish off the rest of this year and head into 2020. We're going to get that area of freedom is going to get really highlighted. And the whales and the dolphins in the sea right now, especially in this area of the country on the California coast, are free. They're free to live whatever kind of life they want. They don't have, the restrictions that many of us have. And there still are some issues that are being worked out with the fishermen that are catching the small fish, making sure that the equipment that they use is safe and that they're not accidentally catching dolphins. So there's a little bit of that being ironed out here on the West Coast. I know particularly in this area of Monterey where I live. And of course, there's the pollution issues that are still being looked at, and sonar, things like that have affected whales and dolphins and other sea creatures. But for the most part, they do live and emulate more of a free lifestyle. And I think they can really show us how to embrace that in our own selves. I think they really are helping us to deactivate those old enslavement programs and really move into recognizing our abilities as free beings. And I think we're going to start to feel more of this as we make our way to the end of this year. Some people are going to tap into more anger and rage and injustice around how we have been restricted in our world and the way we live. And of course, on a big picture scale, on some level, we signed up to have this experience. But now we're moving out of that, and we're recognizing that we're empowered beings. And if we're empowered, that means we have a right to live the kind of life we want to live. So how are we going to do that? What is that going to look like? And what are we going to do to make that happen? the power of that is in our own hands. And we're the
Yes.
only ones that can bring change. So we have to figure out how we want that to look and what we're going to do. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see that theme of freedom and how it plays out as we make our way into the end of the year, particularly in December. I think there's going to be a big energy shift around that, where we're going to start to see people taking more action in the world and speaking out. And some of it might not be pretty. There's going to be some, words said that are needing to be said, but those boundaries are appropriate because that is what is going to ultimately help us move forward. So it certainly is going to be interesting.
Yes, and I think it's really telling the truth that comes from your soul and not just, making everything nice or justifying behavior or accepting unacceptable behavior to supposedly keep the peace because it's not peaceful inside of you if you're doing
Right.
that. And so
Right.
really coming from a place of when this happens, this is how it makes me feel, and it's really uncomfortable. And then I want to run away. And
Right.
and so having conversations that are not easy, but if you're in the right context, that it's not about blaming the other person, then you can have really good conversations. So I'm watching the clock, Heather, and I can't believe we are already almost at the time
Yeah.
for Lisa to come on with Good Dogma. So I want to thank you so much for being a guest. I love the information. Now you can be found, this is Heather Green. She can be found on Facebook or at her website, tealhealing.com, and you can learn more. And also you can go to centralcoastradio.org. If you listen to the show, you want to hear it again, you can go into the archives, which let's see, it's on here. I just looked it up. And so there's a button to pull up the radio stations, share them with your friends, and enjoy them again, because we talked about a lot of different things that you may want to listen to twice. So, wow, this is Deeper Than Memory, Deeper Than Money, and I will be back the second week of December. December already. Crazy.
Yeah.
So, Heather, is there anything that you would like to leave us with as a final thought?
Well, I think I said a lot today. Just really be gentle. Be gentle with yourselves during this time. Take time for you. It's really important that we remember to put ourselves first. A lot of times we want to put others first because we think that's what makes us kind and giving, and that's great. But if we're not taking time for us first, we can't really be there for anyone else. So really, be easy and gentle and compassionate with yourself, and then you can turn around and do the same, and do what you need to do to stay grounded, centered, really, keep yourself in that calm, peaceful state as the whales emulate so well. And I wish everyone a happy holiday time. Yeah, for
yes.
sure.
Yes, indeed. And so much love. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me again.
You're
MaryAiñe.
welcome. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. All the high holy days. Enjoy.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, something seems to be going on that is unexpected here. So, I guess I won't be playing a final song. I will just be humming you a tune. How's that? No, I really won't be humming you a tune, but I can hear the music, but I can't hear it the way I would like to hear it. So, I can't even make it come out. Anyhow, I think it's stuck. But you are in luck because Lisa is coming on and she's going to make everything nice.
You can't hear it
Right?
in your
No, and I can't hear it through the monitor. So that's okay. It's 2 o'clock and we are still at 97.3 and 107.9 The Rock.